Welcome to FinCrime Insights. My name is Erik Setsaas and I'm Director of Innovation. I'm working at Financial Crime Prevention at Tietoevry Banking. This is our pilot episodes, and in these podcasts we will look into various aspects of financial crime, fraud, money laundering and digital identity. In this first episode we will be going to talk about the Defense Center, and to help me to explain what this is, I'd like to introduce my guest, André Moen Eide. Welcome.
Thank you, Erik, and thank you for having me in this pilot episode.
Good to have you here, and I'm sure we're going to learn a lot about the Defense Center. But first, about yourself. How long have you been working with this financial crime area?
I started in this FinCrime business back in 2016. Before that, I was working in the oil and gas industry. And I have to say, this job gives me a lot more motivation, knowing that every day we reduce the flow of money into criminal hands.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. We're making a difference, and we can see all the statistics of how much financial crime we actually catch by the work we are doing here. So for the Defense Center, what's the purpose of the Defense Center? What is it, and what's the purpose?
Yeah, I will try to explain. Our mission is to detect, stop, and prevent financial crime. That's our main purpose. We are a 24/7 operation unit with more than 70 dedicated specialists and FinCrime experts. Most of them are located here in Mo i Rana, where I am sitting. So this is the place to be if you want to be a fraud fighter. So we have built a great competence environment with our internal academy and certifications.
Right, and we operate in a number of languages as well, right?
Absolutely. And for most of our customers, we deliver a fully outsourced service, meaning that we do both the analyze and investigation work, in addition to follow up potential fraud cases toward the victims. Yeah. And last year we had an all-time high in detected fraud cases with almost 130,000 cases, which means over 350 cases every day. So that's quite a lot of work.
That is a lot, and that keeps you guys busy on following up on this. And but as you said, it's meaningful because we are actually preventing money to fall into criminals.
Absolutely.
So I understand the Defense Center has been around since 1997. That's quite a few years. Can you give some historical background?
I can try. Yeah, we started with fraud prevention services back in 1997 in collaboration with Europe and Norway. They needed a team who could monitor transactions 24/7 as a result of the increasing fraud. So a lot of things have changed during these years. And I think you can have a dedicated episode with my colleague Kendroni, who actually has been here since day one.
Right, I mean that could be quite interesting to learn the historical background as well. So maybe you get back to that later.
Absolutely. And back then we didn't have these sophisticated tools to detect fraud, no AI. But luckily, the fraudster wasn't that sophisticated either back then.
So over those 25 years, how has fraud changed? What was different back then compared to what it is like now?
Yeah. In these early days, most of the fraud was related to compromised card details based on skimming. And we saw the most of the fraud was card present fraud. Today, almost all the fraud is related to internet. This is the place where payment details get into criminal hands, and it's also the place where these details are misused. And the fraudsters, they are a professional without a moral compass, and they always look for new opportunities to increase their profit. And since the detection system has improved a lot during these years, they now often attack the weakest link, and that is every one of us.
Right. So yeah, I mean, I remember though back in the time where you should look at your ATM if somebody had installed some hardware on it to pull off the magnetic stripe on your card. Of course, that's become more difficult now with the chip cards. But still, I guess a lot of payment details are leaking and being sold on the dark web, and we are trying to recognize those transactions, right?
Yeah, and luckily we do, and most of the transaction we manage to detect and stop before money goes into the criminals.
Exactly. So stealing sort of the credit card details is one thing, but you also mentioned people. So I guess we have more and more people being tricked into doing or paying things they shouldn't.
Yeah, we see a lot more of these phishing and manipulation scams. Uh, and to manage to detect these kind of attacks, we need more data. So during the last years, we have implemented new data sources to be able to detect even more fraud.
Right. So we are collecting as much information as possible. So we're recognizing my behavior patterns, how I spend my money, but also how fraudsters are doing this to determine is this a fraudulent transaction.
Yeah, and one example of this is our service, Thrill Secure Monitoring, um, and the purpose of that service is to detect more of this phishing fraud. Uh, if we go back some years before PSD2, uh, around 5% of the fraud cases was related to phishing. After implementation of PSD2, we saw a step increase in phishing fraud, and today almost 40% of all cases we detect are related to phishing, where often Thrill Secure is used. So we can't, our analyst can't look at the transaction and say, okay, this is certainly you because you have used your Thrill Secure.
Right. So
So, so we needed to have these data into our system to be able to detect anomalies based on this format.
right. So as before, the criminals they were using my payment details to make a transaction. Now they're trying to trick me into using it myself. And PSD2 has sort of been the enabler for that, if you like, or preventing somebody else using my payment, my credit card details, right?
Yeah, because before PSD2, you could go into the internet and buy things without using Trade Secure. Today, we have to use this, and then the fraudsters have adapted to be able to get our money.
Right, exactly. And this is where people are frustrated, right? Because we're increasing the friction for people, but actually it's good for me and for everybody to have that friction to stop fraudsters, right?
Yeah, absolutely. But with our new Trade Secure monitoring solution, we can utilize transaction risk analysis exemptions. This is according to the PSD2. We can reduce friction for low risk payments.
Right.
So so that's a good thing. So
Yeah, so we're monitoring, and you mentioned AI. So we're using AI to monitor these transactions to find deviations.
yeah, AI can help us with profiling and to see things that are difficult for just an analyst to detect. So the AI help us, but we know that AI also help the fraudsters and the criminals. So that's yeah,
I mean, the criminals are using AI more and more now to try to trick us into doing something wrong as well.
yeah, absolutely. So it's a cat and mouse game.
Yeah, I mean, you can never sleep on the job, right? Because it's constantly new stuff, and we need to be updated on the latest trends. And so, yeah, it's challenging, but I mean, we seem to be doing pretty good. We are stopping most of the fraud transactions,
Yeah, we see that we are able to detect yeah around 90% of all fraud.
right? Which
But
is,
we aim to detect even more, but that's quite good, I would say.
I would say, I mean, there's no such thing as a 100% solution, obviously. So, I mean, as high as possible to be able to stop the money going into criminals.
Yeah, and we need to balance this regarding friction as well. So
exactly, yeah. I mean, so but there is something happening in the token monitoring. What's happening there?
yeah, we see that if criminals manage to enroll your card details into their digital wallet, we often use more time to detect the fraud, which result in higher losses. So we now develop a new token enrollment monitoring solution where we can stop this enrollment process based on our holistic approach. So this will help us to improve the detection rate even more and also reduce false positives.
Right. So what you're saying is that when I want to add my credit card to my Apple Wallet, for example, or Samsung Wallet, we have mechanisms to say, is this genuine or is there something suspicious about this this addition, right?
Yeah, and we can stop the process.
Right. We can block that from happening, and that will make it more difficult for criminals to tokenize these cards.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. Yeah. I mean, a lot of things going, and it's a really important and challenging job. And as you say, there are 7/24, so people are working day and night on this with the help of AI, obviously, and we have rule sets, etc. So, any final comments you want to leave the audience with regarding the Defense Center?
Well, fraud can hit anyone, anytime. So stay safe and don't give away your payment details.
That is for sure. And as we mentioned initially, there is stories in the newspaper almost every day now on fraud cases. People have been tricked, and etc. So be safe, take care, be careful. Thank you so much for joining on this this episode, André. It's been insightful. I hope the audience liked this. And at the end, there will be a QR code where where you're going to see all the upcoming episodes as well. So stay tuned for our next episode in FinCrime Insights.